Hi guys, this is Crafty Cat. Welcome back to my channel and welcome if you're new. We are here with day 10 of World Watercolor Month. I can't believe it's day 10 already. And today the word of the day is turtle. So I go for a walk at Whitefish Island quite a lot, and there is a beaver pond that sometimes has turtles. So I have these pictures of turtles that I took about 2 years ago on one of my walks. I'm using one of them as a reference picture, and I've just changed the angle of the turtle so it looks more interesting, because in my reference picture it's kind of flat and just like the half part down. So I just angled it like a bit more. It is angled in the picture, and I left out his weird little kicking foot. In the picture he has a little foot kicking out. I might add it later if I think I can. So I did my best to just sketch this turtle quickly, trying to keep the shape. It's not perfect, but I'm happy with it. I don't know if you could see it. It's just a light pencil sketch, and I just used a mechanical pencil from the Dollarama, one of these. It's a studio pencil. I really like them. And we've got my Himi Gouache out. I hope everything is on camera. I can't quite see, because the way my camera holder hooks onto my camera, it covers half of the camera, so I can't tell. So I'm really hoping. I know that this is in camera, but I don't know if this is. And hopefully I'll remember. I've already got paint all over my hands because I shoved my finger into the orange paint and the green paint this time. I've got some Himi Gouache brushes right here. And now I've just shoved the paint in here. Yeah. I am having a klutzy day, you guys, so you're going to need to put up with me today. I am more klutzy than I normally am. So this image that I took, it's very green and like muted green. So I just went into my image and I edited it so there's more blues, because I've been painting a lot of green and I want it more blue. And there is going to be green in the turtle, of course, but I wanted it to have some more blue tones today. I just was in the mood to do that. So I like this brush, and it's really hard. It's nice that they have this area for brushes, but they're hard to get out. So I have these 4 brushes that came with the Himi set. Some of them are from my older set, and some of them are from the newer set. And I think what I'm going to do is just shove a Kleenex in here. So that when I'm done with my brushes, I could set them down and they'll still pop out. Or I'll just keep them off camera here. I think I do have another paper towel I could put down. Yeah. I just folded that up in my hand. So I need to get more clips, because these clips are not quite big enough for this book, and I struggle. And I already ripped my paper yesterday doing my home one. So anyway, I think... See, here's the thing. I'm kind of confused because, A, I'm not following a tutorial, and I do much better when I'm following tutorials. I'm happy with my sketch. It's just that the sketch, the image, my actual image, is not following the rules of watercolor. Now, or gouache even. The rules of painting say the background should be a muted color, and then the midground should be darker, and the foreground should be brighter. In this picture, the water behind is either a dark blue or a dark green, depending on how I edit the picture, the photo itself. And then the rock has a lot of sunlight, and the rock has a lot of that white lichen. So like a lot of this under the turtle is like an almost like a light gray white. And then it has some like more mossy moss, actual moss, and different patches of brown lichen on it. And then the turtle itself is a dark green with like a light yellowy green stripes. And the turtle shell is a muted green with some blue highlights, and then some of that lighter mossy green. So lighter than the bottom. But if I'm trying to follow rules to make it look right, then this should be lighter. This should be medium. And then the turtle should be darker. Okay, well, the turtle's legs and face might be darker, and the shadow underneath the shell will be darker, And there's a shadow here. These are the only pictures I have of turtles, like my own pictures. So, well, you know what? It doesn't have to be perfect. Learning. We are learning. I'm just completely covered in paint. I haven't even started yet. So I really like that color. Okay, I'm going to grab some white. And I ordered some white. Jackson's was having a sale. So I ordered some white gouache. 60 milligrams of white gouache for like $8 on Jackson's. And it's light fast. I don't remember the brand, but I'll show you when it arrives. So I'm really excited about that. And I don't know if that's the right white for mixing or if that's the right white. And I want some of this blue. And I want some of this blue. Now in the actual painting, the water would be more like this blue here in the image. So I could add a little bit of that to add darker. So, following the laws of watercolor and gouache, which is just like an opaque watercolor, I'm going to add a pool of water here. I think I added too much. That makes it kind of purpley. That's pretty though. And that makes it a little bit darker over here. Not the right color though. Just gonna go with it. I think that's good. And then I could add some pops of brighter color. So I'm using a watery consistency, and I'm probably not mixing as much color as I need it. Definitely not. Alright guys, so I have sped this video up 10 times faster than my normal painting speed. And that's because this is an 8.5 by 11-inch sketchbook. It's pretty big. Takes me a long time to cover all of that white. So I am going over here with that mix of blues. I have 3 different blues and a white mixed together, and later after this dries, I'm going to go over it with lighter blue to try to make some swirls in the water. But right now, I am just trying to get that big section of water done and painted, and I'm just trying to look at the big sections, you know? So now I am mixing some more color, and we are going to be painting the white sections of the rock, and it's kind of like a gray, white, tan. Those are the colors that I want in there: gray, white, tan, mossy green, and a few darker colors, and even some of that blue. So you're going to see I'm just playing around right now, and I'm trying to remind myself, don't get too detailed. And some of that color also went over the turtle's legs. I put that in. So now you're seeing me add the yellowy tan colors. So I'm just trying to mix colors and not use them exactly as they are in there because they're so saturated, especially the greens. Even though those are beautiful greens, I want more like of a mossier color, you know? Anyway, I really, really, really love this Himi Gouache. It is so much fun to work with. You do need water for it to spread. I mean, you can paint it right out of the paint cups, and sometimes I do toward the end, but it does slide over the paper better if you add water to it. And it came with this little mixing tray that I'm using, which is really great. I just wish it had a lid. Like, I wish it had an inner lid, and then the mixing tray on top, and then the outer lid, because it's really messy. And every time I put that mixing tray on top and then the outer lid, I get paint all over it and I have to wash it again. Anyway, I am just trying to go with where the darker greens go. There's shadow under the turtle. I end up having to go back and make my shadows much darker. And I'm just trying to use like a different brush texture everywhere, so it's not always the same. So I'm trying to be more smooth for the rock and then like dabbing the paint on where there's lichen or moss. but I go over that quite a bit. So now I am just going to do the light color of the shell, and I'm going to paint the whole shell. And you'll see me, well, I guess you can't see me pause because I've sped this video up so much, but I did pause and think, should I leave some white? But I decided no, because I can add white because it's gouache. I don't have to leave it. So now I'm getting too caught up in the details and I'm adding orange, and I'll have to go back and add more later because I darken it later. But it's really easy to get distracted by the details when you're not ready. I was trying to force myself to paint the bigger shapes first. I mean, they're mostly in. I didn't do his head and his tail yet, but I got distracted by trying to put the shadows and some of the other colors in. Just because I'm really drawn to colors, I love that little pop of orange. And I'm trying to get a few of the darker colors in to see how dark and how light, like what colors I need. So now that that first shell color is almost dry, but not quite, I am going through and adding like the sections of the shell. Now the turtle, it almost was like he had moss and lichen growing on his shell. So he kind of matched the rock that he was sitting on very much. So I was trying to do that too. He's such a cute turtle. I'm always so excited when I see a turtle out on my walks. I very rarely see them anymore. I used to see them a lot more when I was younger. So I'm going with a much darker green for the turtle's head because it is darker. And I'm trying to paint the little stripe lines on there. And immediately I'm happier with the painting because I did that. And now I know I need to add more darks. So I'm starting with the dark around the tail and in the bottom part of the shell where you can see where the body is sandwiched in between the top shell and the bottom shell kind of thing. But I always have to play with my darks, and I don't want to go too dark too fast because then it darkens up the whole painting. So I just go gradually darker, you know? Now I'm painting the little legs and back to the shells, and I'm just loosely outlining those little sections with a dark, I think I mixed the black with the blue and the green to get that color because I didn't want just a solid black. There is no solid black in this painting except for at the very, very end where I outline under the squirrel. And I'm trying to get it so that all of the lines are not the same on the shell. Some are thicker, some are thinner, and that's because there's moss and lichen growing on the shell. And I'm trying to bring in the colors from the background onto I keep wanting to say squirrel for some reason instead of turtle, and I have to catch myself. But yeah, I love animals. I love nature. I was so happy. I remember like it was yesterday when I saw this turtle. He was sunning himself on this stone, and I took a bunch of pictures of him. I uploaded 3 of the pictures on Facebook, and thank goodness I do because these pictures are on my old computer, which I have like thousands of pictures on my old computer. So it's really hard to find them, the ones that you want. I wish I had AI on my computer where I could tell my computer go look for pictures of turtles in my files and they would just do it. I wonder if that will ever come. That would be cool. So I'm just trying to add more contrast now. Every once in a while I have to stop and just look. Now I've decided I need more shadows. I need darker colors. So I'm playing with that. I'm adding the shadow under the turtle. I'm hoping with more experience, I will get better at putting in the tonal values. And it's not just, I know that the colors have to be there, but it's kind of hard to paint a shadow in the way that it looks like a shadow and not just like a line of paint underneath what you're painting. Do you know what I mean? And I guess it doesn't help that I'm always trying all different watercolors and gouaches, and I don't ever really paint with the same thing over and over again, other than my Paul Rubens. I do use those quite a lot. But I'm going to use a lot of the Himi Gouache this month because I love it so much and I don't want it to go to waste. So, yeah, because I'm not going to be bringing it out to camp with me in August. So, I want to use as much as I can now in July. So now I'm detailing around the turtle's face and eye and where I think it needs more details. And all I'm doing is looking at the image and then looking at my turtle and trying to think with an artist's eye instead of just replicating the image. And I'm trying to keep the rules that I've learned in mind, you know? All right, we're about to head back to the regular speed. Okay, guys, I am back. I went down for supper and I let this dry. So the only thing I did off camera that you didn't see is I went with this color right here, and I just kind of painted some zigzags on top of the blue because it was just looking too flat and I wanted it to kind of look like that's water. So that's all you missed before I remembered to turn the camera back on. So I just was going here and just kind of doing this. So that's all I was doing. And I went with my tiny liner brush and I painted some little white lines over here and some little white dots on his snout and then down the neck. And I painted some of those little blue spots from the water down the leg because the light is hitting on the leg, and I think I want a little bit more like kind of grayish blue. It barely shows up. Let's add a little bit more white. So I was just like doing little dabs like this. And over here, I can't tell if this is under the guy or next to it, but there's more of that white over here. I think it's just lichen. Can lichen grow on a turtle? Because the stuff on his leg looks almost exactly like the stuff growing on the rock. And I'm just dabbing a little bit more of that light in, and you can't even tell. I'm basically doing it for nothing. But I think I'm done. I don't want to get too fussy. I've already gotten more fussy than I should. So why don't we just see what it looks like and see if it looks better without the tape. So I had a nice barbecued hamburger for supper, you guys. It was so good. I decided I would paint earlier today because last night I was up till 3 in the morning painting and recording my video, and I thought, no, that can't happen again. Because now that I'm doing bigger paintings, they take longer than usual. So now for the magic. Now I did put the tape down on my pillowcase this time first, so hopefully it won't rip the paper. And if I use my finger to hold it instead of just tearing it, maybe that will help. So that looks good. I'm very happy to see that the paint did not go under the tape. And it makes such a difference. I know a lot of people paint without the tape and they're able to make it look really nice. I'm not one of those people. I mean, look, I even got blue on the end of here. I'm a very messy painter. I'm a very messy person in general. See, I got paint on the edge of here too. So far so good, and I'm happy. I'm happy I went with those little light lines. Like, I don't really think they show that much, but at least now in my mind it looks more like water. And last but not least, the last piece of tape. Am I on camera? The last piece of tape. Yay. Oh yeah, I'm happy with this. Super happy. So, day tan turtle Himi Gouache my photo. All right, you guys, this is how it looks. So let me see if you could see. I don't know. Can you see the water? Does that look more like water now? I was just trying to push it back some more so it didn't look so vibrant compared to the rest. And I tried to do like darker colors and then add the light where the light is hitting the shell. And the shell looks like it's growing lichen and moss right on it. Here's the turtle's little face and his little feet. And that weird thing is actually his claw. He's leaning on his claw. And I don't know if it looks like a claw or if it just looks like a weird branch sitting here. He's got his little tail and his little back foot. And this is all like rocks with lichen and everything. So I'll show you the picture here. And you can see how I changed it because this is art and I wanted to make it more arty looking. And I'm going to show you the one I did last year because last year I had a prompt for turtle. So here's the turtle I did last year versus the turtle I did this year. Which one do you like better? And last year I used Daniel Smith paint. Those, I forget what they're called. They're made from rocks. They're nice paints. But I think I like this one better. How about you guys? And I've got a year's more experience now. Can you believe I started World Watercolor Month in 2023 with like hardly any experience painting watercolor? What possessed me to think? I think it was just because I wanted to learn as much as I could as fast as I could. But yeah, I am super happy with how this turned out. I do like these Himi Gouache a lot. Let me just move that aside. Let me just turn this so you can see all the colors because they're so pretty. Can you see the colors now a little bit better? I don't know if they're on camera. It's really hard to get everything on camera. But yeah. Anyway, this took me about 2 hours, like maybe 5 minutes more than 2 hours to make. So I seem to be faster with gouache than watercolor. And I think it's because I know I can go back and add light colors. And I'm really happy with my rock full of moss and lichen. So yeah, it doesn't look like in the picture. I had to make it my own, but I'm happy with it. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you like this. If you did, please give me wait. I want to say one more thing. Also, I tried to use the color in the background on the turtle. So the blue from the water is on the turtle. The green and the white so I tried to use not as limited as most people do, but limited for me. So the only extra colors are the pops of orange and yellow. Alright guys, that is it for this turtle. Day 10 is done. We are 1/3 of the way through. I just have to do 10 days 2 more times and plus 1 extra day for 31 days in July. Oh, okay, we can do this. I did it twice before. I can do it now. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you like this. If you did, please give me a big thumbs up. Hit that like button. Hit the subscribe. Hit the notification bell. All of those good things that help as a channel. And most importantly of all, take care. Stay safe. Happy painting, happy crafting, and happy whatever it is you love doing. Don't forget to take time for yourself and do things you love to do. And leave me a comment and let me know what you think of my turtle. Alright guys, bye.